Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Bachelor in Paradise live recap show. We are here to talk all about Jessenia leaving Ivan. I was about to say Ireland. Ivan, Tammy pulling a fast one on Aaron, and of course, Mari throwing Kenny's birthday cake in the fire. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, and I am joined today by Fiona Zering. Fiona, what did you make of last night's episode?
I loved last night's episode. Last night's episode felt like the chaotic paradise drama I have been waiting for. I am so excited to talk about it. Literally, the whole thing I thought was so much fun.
No, it was so good. There was just so much going on, and I felt like last week it was kind of boring because everyone was so established in their relationships, but this week that is not the case. Like, we have so many love triangles, so we're going to be breaking it all down on today's live. So I'm excited to chat with you, Fiona, see where you're at. It's just us today, so we're really going to have a lot of time to just share our feelings on some of these couples because I am very passionate about a few of these situations, as I know you are too. So are you ready to get into it?
Oh my gosh, so ready. Let's get started.
All right, well, then we got to start off with the two new guys that arrived on the beach, Chasen and Chris. Now, they were from Claire and Tayshia's season. Chris said he was eliminated night 1 on Claire's season, very early on, because I didn't remember him. And then Chasen is most known for calling Tayshia a smoke show. So they had double date cards and opted to take Deandre and Jessenia. The date was some weird thing where they were on top of each other, blowing each other with like air. It definitely set the mood. It got kind of romantic. And however, once they got back from the date, this is where all the drama started to go down because Carl wanted to steal Deandra and present her with a bracelet that he got for her since Carl gave his rose to Deandra earlier in the week, but Chasen would not stop interrupting. So what are your kind of thoughts on the date? And then we can kind of talk a little bit about the Carl Chasen debacle.
Yeah, so first of all, I feel like I finally kind of got to know Deandra a little bit because she's someone who I didn't remember too much from Peter's season. So I was definitely excited to see her. Love Jessenia. As far as the boys, I'm not going to lie, Chasen was not my favorite on Claire and Tayshia's season. He kind of bugged me, and he kind of bugged me here as well. But our other guy, he was nice. I just don't like his whole thing, Zachary. I don't like his attitude. I don't like the chip on his shoulder. I don't think he comes across as very smart, which is totally okay. I know a lot of people out there really like him, so he just might not be my cup of tea. And then as far as the other guy goes, whose name I'm literally blanking on.
His name was Chris. But yeah, Chris. He said he was eliminated really early.
But I'm struggling even right now to like have a super strong impression of him, if that makes sense. I was definitely a little more Team Ivan, but I think he's a nice guy. I think he's a cute guy, and we'll see. I don't know. It's hard when basically a stranger comes on the beach, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. And I want to talk a little bit about Jessenia and that whole situation. But what did you think about Chasen constantly interrupting Carl as he's giving a bracelet to Deandra? I guess, Carl wanted to spend a few minutes with Deandra since she was away on the date the entire day, and Chasen kept on interrupting like every 5 minutes, and then he ended up staring at them from like a foot away, and they're having like, I guess you can call it a romantic moment, but it was just so cringe of Chasen.
Oh my God. Yeah. The whole thing was really cringe. I have to say, I warmed to Carl just like this much throughout this whole paradise process. And I thought that the bracelet idea was very, in theory, sweet, right? Here's this bracelet he bought before coming to paradise. He has all these charms to represent different stages of falling in love in paradise. Like, definitely something he put a lot of thought into. This felt like the wrong moment. It felt like the wrong girl. It felt a little desperate. You know what I mean? Like, none of those charms, they didn't know each other well enough for them to have like a true story behind it. So I feel like it was definitely a move that he was looking at the chessboard and going, there's a really good chance I go home. She's the only girl that's shown any interest in me. She just went on a date with the hot guy. I'm going to give her this bracelet. I think I would have been a little overwhelmed to receive it personally. All of that being said, though, I did not like Chasen at
Chasen,
all. I
yeah.
thought it was weird. I thought it was aggressive. I thought it was rude. I thought it ruined the moment, which obviously was his intent. But I think this is what kind of bothers me about Chasen. He didn't think that that was a bad look. Like, if I'm Deandra,
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm into this whole bracelet situation, but I also don't think I'm going to be into that, right? So I think
Yeah.
he doesn't know
Unless
how
it
to
was
pick
like
his moments.
unless it was producer planted, because I can see the producers being like, nope, go back over there, go back over there. But I
Mm-hmm.
wish that Deandra kind of stuck up for Carl a little bit more, because Carl did give her the rose. You know, Carl kept her there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Deandra probably has a better connection with Chasen, but she still could have like said something because it was just so awkward. But I'm glad that you
Right.
brought that thing up about the bracelet, because here's my issue with the bracelet is that he bought the bracelet before he even came to Paradise, not knowing who he was going to potentially fall in love with or who he was going to have feelings for. When you're buying someone a gift, I feel like you need to like know who you're giving that gift to, and that's what makes it sentimental and sweet and thoughtful. You buying a bracelet and then you're
Mm-hmm.
giving it to whichever girl that you happen to like in Paradise, it just comes across a little bit less thoughtful to me because he didn't buy it
Mm-hmm.
specifically for her. Does that make sense?
Totally. And I think like he did a good job of picking out like generic charms, right? Like a palm tree, a rose, whatever it was. And I think had he waited until the very end of Paradise, right? There's a girl that he's had a connection with this whole time. He can say, like, I bought this bracelet coming to Paradise, was hoping I would find the right woman to give it to, was hoping we would have something memorable for all these charms. And then he would go through all of the memories they made, right? Then maybe it could be executed super thoughtfully. This just felt rushed. And again, I like hate to use this word because I do think it was a sweet gesture, but it felt kind of desperate.
It did. So who do you think Deandra's going to give her rose to? Because we ended off, you know, last night's episode right at the rose ceremony. We were about to kind of start seeing who was going to mingle.
I definitely think Chasen over Carl, unless there's some sort of wild card, right? I think Carl's probably not safe this week.
Yeah, and I'm glad that he kind of got that edit because he did come across like a sweet guy. So, I mean, he was hated on Katie's season. So I'm glad that he's at least like getting some fans around him being like, okay, go Carl. Like I was rooting for him last night in that situation. So at least he's going to go home on a high note. But we got to continue on to talk about Jessenia, who came back from the date. She was conflicted about which guy she liked more, Chris or Ivan. She told Ivan that he checks off all of the boxes. However, they're missing a spark. And she said that that spark is something that she has with Chris, which is interesting because a spark is something you can't force in Jessenia's words, but you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of find the boxes. And this is where things get interesting because there has been pictures online of Jessenia and Chris hanging out in San Diego with a group of people, including Chasen, Tammy, and Katie Thurston, our former Bachelorette. And now a lot of people are talking about the fact that Jessenia and Chris were friends before they came to the beach. So how does that kind of affect Jessenia's relationship with Ivan? Does that make it less authentic?
So here is my take on this whole thing. Based on what I think Katie posted, like a follow-up after people kind of
Yeah.
brought this back to life, that like this was a lot of people from Bachelor Nation hanging out, being friendly, getting to know each other. Here we go, because we were all just friends hanging out, right? So to me, there's like a spectrum here, right? If Jessenia is someone under the Bachelor umbrella, they all got together, got drinks, she met this guy, they hit it off, they followed each other on Instagram, and like that was kind of it. And then he shows up in Paradise, and based on that interaction is like, wait, that girl, she's super cute, why don't I take her out? And you hit it off and you find that spark. I just think in a franchise that is as intertwined and is known to mingle as much as this one does,
Yeah.
that's above board. I guess to me, not everyone would feel that way, I'm sure, but to me, that level is above board. Now, and I'm sure we can get into this later, but the Brendan and Piper version of events, that to me does not feel above board, right? It's kind of like, where is your head? How much time was spent? How many times did you hang out? And I do really think that this was two people in the same place at the same time once, and then on the same beach again later down the line. At least that's how I'm
Okay.
interpreting it. I want to think the best of Jessenia in this situation.
That's totally fair, and I do agree with you. I think Brendan and Piper were a lot further along in their relationship than Jessenia and Chris were, and obviously we'll talk more about that when Piper shows up on the beach and we can see what her story is, because we don't know what she's going to come in with. But I kind of understand where you're coming from. I do feel like maybe they were just in San Diego, a group of people, and then they were going to Bachelor in Paradise anyway. Jessenia lives in Texas, Chris lives in San Diego, so even if they did have a connection, they don't live in the same city, so maybe they wanted to go to Paradise to explore that. So we will give them the devil's advocate on that. It just seemed a little bit like fishy how Chris knew to ask Jessenia. Maybe he was thinking about her for a while, but I'm just really upset because you know, and everyone here knows if you've been listening to Shared News, I am the biggest Jessenia and Ivan fan. Like, I was shipping them so hard last week. I was really rooting for them, and now it seems like Jessenia is putting her cards in Chris's basket. She kind of broke up with Ivan. She kind of said, like, the spark is there, I can't force it. And it looks like Jessenia is going to give her rose to Chris, which leaves Ivan single. I mean, could Ivan be the next Bachelor, possibly?
So here's the thing. With all of that devil's advocating being said, I thought their date was fine. I understood. I saw the spark between them. I did, but I am with you. I solidly throughout that entire date continued to root for Jessenia and Ivan because I love Ivan so much, and I really did like their connection, what we had seen of it so far. Now I get it feels kind of like the Katie and Connor thing, like the spark. If it's not there, it's not there. You're so right. If it's not, it's not. So maybe she ultimately did Ivan a huge favor, and he's going to get a rose from somebody somehow.
Anyone in mind?
I don't know. It's hard. I want to be so optimistic, but I'm not sure who would give it to him. I was hoping maybe Natasha wouldn't give her rose to Brendan and would throw it to one of these great guys who kind of needs one. Only time will tell. But again, I liked the connection better between Jessenia and Ivan. And I want Ivan to stay on the beach. So I'm kind of in this limbo of I don't really know what's going to happen. I guess if he leaves and becomes our next Bachelor, I would be okay with that too. But he was a really, really great guy. So if his journey ends like this, it will be a heartbreaking one, I think.
He's such a good guy. And honestly, him and Jessenia had such a strong connection. So I'm just really upset about it. Obviously, I was wrong because Jessenia didn't feel the same way. So I'm going to be really sad if Jessenia kind of sends him home. But I do think there's hope. There's a lot of couples who are in love triangles on the beach right now. So there is hope for Ivan to stay. So we'll have to see what happens. But I'm glad you brought up Natasha because that's who we need to talk about next. And before we do that, I want to remind everyone listening to subscribe and ring the bell, like this video, give it a thumbs up so you never miss out on any future videos. But let's touch on Natasha and Brendan because Natasha, she has been wanting to kiss Brendan for a little bit of time now. They have been linked. However, Natasha has always been pretty skeptical because she knows about a possible past with Piper. And Natasha described it on the episode. She said Brendan described it as casual. So that's kind of the impression Natasha is under. So Natasha kind of wanted to spice things up, make a move on Brendan tonight to maybe get that kiss. And she ended up giving him a massage. And Brendan sealed the massage with a kiss. And I want to get your thoughts on this, but this is my issue. Why is Natasha giving Brendan the massage? Natasha has the rose. Brendan should be giving her the massage.
Oh my God. Could not say it better.
Right?
This was infuriating to watch. I think Natasha is so hot. I think she is such a catch. I think a lot of the guys feel that way about her on the beach. And as you said, there are tons of unstable relationships right now and plenty of guys who still need a connection. She does not need to have all of her eggs in Brendan's basket at this point. And I am not enjoying him this season. I really liked him on Claire and Tayshia's season. I thought he was this thoughtful, romantic, really handsome guy who was shy and a little bit funny. And I'm not getting any of those vibes.
Why is
this
that?
Season.
What vibes are you getting from him this season?
F-boy vibes. And honestly, dumb guy vibes. He's not presenting himself very smart. I feel like he always just seems like his head is all over the place. And
That's
Natasha
fair.
Deserves better. Brendan should have kissed her immediately. He should have made it super clear that he was going to fight for her. She has the power this week. What I wanted more than anything was for her to be like, you know what, dude? Enough is enough. If you don't want to fight for me, I'll be over there fighting for somebody else. I've got the rose this week. Work for it. That's what I was really hoping to see. So, I mean, I guess down to the wire, she could still pull that kind of energy, but right now it does seem like she's going to give him her rose, and I'm not really here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same page with you a little bit. I kind of like Brendan this season. I'm kind of crushing on him, but I don't think he likes Natasha. Like, I don't think he cares about her. I really think that, he's just kind of waiting for Piper. And like I said, we're going to have to see what happens when she comes down. But is there anyone else on the beach that you think Natasha should pursue or give her rose to? Because she could send Brendan home before Piper even gets here if she wants to.
Yeah, I mean, what's hard is I don't feel like I know, like Peter's season feels like 100 years ago, right? So it's like, I don't feel like I know Natasha well enough to super understand who could be a good match for her. I think she's really smart. I think she's quick-witted. Yeah, so that's exactly who I was going to say. The person that comes to mind is Ivan. But not to like whatever, people have the types they have. Peter was not the brightest bulb. Brendan, to me, doesn't seem like the brightest bulb. She might not be feeling it with Ivan because that's not her type. So maybe like Chasen, I don't know. There's got to be somebody on the beach for her.
I mean, hopefully, but it seems like she's really interested in Brendan. I mean, she kind of had that one-on-one scene with Lance Bass about it, so I'm kind of expecting Natasha to give her rose to Brendan, and then we'll see kind of what happens when Piper shows up and that whole thing messes up. But another solid couple right now is Serena and Joe. So Joe got the date card this week. He asked Serena on a one-on-one date. It was a wrestling-themed date. It was very cringy, in my opinion, because they were not wrestling. They just ended up making out. But, Serena had some questions. They wanted to get to know each other better, and Serena wanted to ask about Kendall and how that relationship ended. And Joe basically said that Kendall wanted to stay in Los Angeles, and Joe wanted to move back to Chicago. They fell in love on Paradise. They were dating for 2 years. And they ultimately decided to break up because of the fact that they wanted to live in different places. And it was a very amicable breakup. They were still in love with each other in a way, but they wanted different things. And then this is where it's so interesting because Serena specifically asked Joe, what happens if Kendall shows up on the beach? And Joe said, it's over, it's done, that relationship is done. I mean, they broke up a year ago. Do we think, how do we think, I mean, now we know Kendall's coming. I mean, we can talk about Kendall, but what do you think about Joe and Serena's connection? Do you think she asked all the right questions?
I really, really do. First of all, I hated this date. I don't know. It's like sometimes they set up these scenarios and I just like let them have a nice candlelit dinner by the pool at that point. Like I'm totally with you, was not a fan of this date. But they used this moment to really go there and have the serious conversation they needed to have, even though the environment was so out there and silly. Yeah. I think Serena asked all of the right questions, and I think she asked them very respectfully, very tactfully. She said something along the lines of like, I know her name is Kendall, so I'm just going to say Kendall, right? Like she put her cards on the table and really just leveled with him. And I really like Joe. I'm coming to like him more, even though he's kind of being dramatic. Like I really do like him in these moments where he shines. Like he was super calm, level-headed, didn't avoid the questions, didn't beat around the bush, and really was just honest. And I think that they both walked away from that conversation, honestly, probably feeling like a little weight had been lifted, right? Like elephant in the room has been addressed. So I think they're super strong. I think they're super solid. I think they're super cute. And I feel like I don't know what to say next because we all know what's coming, right? Yeah. Everything's good. I think
now. They're the most solid couple on the beach, surprisingly, because I never would have thought that they would end up together or like have a connection. But out of everyone on the beach right now, maybe Abigail and Noah, but we're not seeing a lot of them. They're very uninvolved. I almost feel like they're not even on this season. But I feel like Joe and Serena have a genuine connection. Like they do genuinely like each other. And that is why things are going to get so interesting because we know Kendall is most likely showing up on the beach tonight. How do you think that's going to go? I mean, we're going to look at a little clip later, but do you think that Serena will be threatened by that? Or do you think after this date, she feels solid?
Well, I would like to say thank you to whoever's out there in the universe that they had this conversation before her arrival, right? Because I really think had they not, it all could have unfolded a completely different way. Obviously, we don't know how it's going to work out, but I think it could be so much worse than whatever it's going to be had they not put all of their cards out there when they did. I think it's going to be awkward. I feel like Serena's a really nice girl who, like we've already seen this season, will pretty much do anything in her power to avoid drama. So I don't think she's going to go up to her and be super territorial or aggressive or nasty. I think she's probably going to do her best to... No, I don't think she's going to throw any belongings in the fire. I think she's going to do her best to create an environment where they can all coexist. Joe, though, we have seen, and we've seen moments that Serena hasn't seen, super struggling with being there, struggling to kind of get a grip on his emotions, struggling to be in that same location again. It's brought back some old memories. So I think it's going to throw him for more of an emotional roller coaster. And I just hope that he continues to handle things as maturely and well communicated as he did in that first conversation, because this is where things could really start to take the turn.
100%. And Joe did say on the date that he was all in with Serena. He wants to, they talked about their future. They both want to leave here with a relationship that they actually care about. And they kind of talked a little bit about logistics, knowing that she is from Canada. There's an age gap. So I think that just Joe and Serena have hope. I think that they seem the most legit out of everyone on the beach right now. But there are couples that are not legit here, and we need to dive in. This is my favorite part, when we get into the messy couples. But before we do that, I want to remind everyone we have a Q&A coming at the end of the video. So leave us your questions, leave us your comments, your opinions. We're going to read them all, so we cannot wait to hear from you guys. But let's try and break down this Mari, Kenny, Demi love triangle, and it's going to be a lot of fun. A cake was even involved. So it all kind of started when Mari told Kenny that she was open to going on dates with other people, which surprised Kenny because he was locked in with Mari. But Mari made it clear that she wanted to pursue a relationship with Kenny, but she wanted to keep her options open had anyone asked her on a date. And this is just kind of hypocritical, I think, because nobody asked Mari on a date. Like, I get she wanted to be like, if anyone asked me, like, Mari, I'm sorry, but no one asked you. So Mari kind of talked to Kenny about that. And then she also told Demi about it as well. What are your general thoughts on Mari and Kenny before, like, as of now? Like, did you think that they were solid? Were you surprised Mari was so open?
I feel like I didn't, just being totally honest, think about them too much, if that makes sense. Like, they had their connection, they seemed happy, they seemed pretty solid, and that was it. Like, I'm not a huge Kenny fan. I think Mari's great, but again, I'm not like a huge invested Mari fan. So this is the first night that I started really, really paying attention to them. And I think that Mari stumbled here a little bit, because I feel like what she was trying to communicate is, we're really happy, but if somebody arrives that we don't already have here, that then asks us on a date, I think it would be doing a disservice if we didn't maybe go explore that new person and then reevaluate. Now, the nuances of what she may or may not have been requesting seem so like slight here.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not even interpreting it right. But it feels like what she didn't want was for them to just go wild and party with people already on the beach, because she was trying to convey, I've already chosen you above everybody here. You and I should have the freedom to, if someone else waltzes in that we don't already know, that we haven't been able to choose you over that person yet, maybe we explore it. Again,
that makes sense.
With emotions involved, with the structure of the beach, like, I think it was a little bit of a stumble. It's very hard to explain. It's kind of a big ask, right?
You explained it. You explained it well. I think you explained it better than Mari, because I think what Kenny took away from that conversation, as well as Demi and a lot of people watching, is that Mari was saying, let's be open. Let's start to talk to other people. Let's see what else is out there. But I think you kind of explained it perfectly, that she was like specifically only talking about people who haven't showed up to the beach yet. So that makes sense. But Mari also decides to tell Demi about the conversation she had with Kenny. And this is where Mari was confiding in Demi, but Demi saw an opening. Now that she knows that there is a little crack in their relationship, Demi, the pot stirrer that she is, goes right up to Kenny, makes a move on him. They end up making out, forming a great connection, and Demi swoops in. And this is, where Demi and Kenny really start to form a connection, so much so that Demi decides to set up a little birthday party for Kenny with a sign and a piñata and a cake. I mean, what were your thoughts about Demi swooping in? Is this smart strategy as a Bachelor in Paradise contestant, or do you think she was being shady towards her friend Mari?
Well, here's the thing. Like, Mari knew walking away from the conversation she had with Kenny that, like, what she was hoping to communicate wasn't communicated well, and that he was upset, right? So if you're going to go telling anybody on the beach in that environment that you just struggled to get through a conversation with someone and now you don't know where his head is and you don't know what's going to happen and you just think you want some freedom and, ooh, maybe you made a mistake, you have to understand that whether it's the person you're telling it to or the person that that person goes and tells it to, you just put a target on his back, right? As a potentially vulnerable, open to making a new connection kind of guy. Was it a little unfortunate? Sure, on the friendship level that Demi was like, I totally hear you. Okay, Kenny, where are you? Sure. But I don't think that her and Mari have a super long, deep established friendship, that it clearly mattered to Demi, right? And I hate to say it, but I kind of did see the connection with Kenny. They really hit it off really fast.
They did hit it off.
Maybe even more than
And they like each other. Yeah, I feel the same way too. And I feel like Demi was smart. She was like, all right, well, I'm going to go after someone, because Demi didn't have someone on the beach. You know, Brendan wasn't interested in her. She got her rose from James, who clearly she did not like. Mari made a mistake maybe by trusting Demi too quickly, considering they weren't from the same season. Like, if Mari wants to confide and open up to someone, like maybe she should have talked to Abigail or Jessenia, like someone who she knows a little bit more from that season. She doesn't know Demi. There's no reason she needs to trust Demi. And Demi also doesn't owe her anything. Like, Demi doesn't owe her a friendship or anything. Demi's here to date around and meet people. So that's exactly what she did. So I'm Team Demi in this situation. But this is where things get even crazier. And we have a clip here. We have to show the infamous cake throwing in the fire situation. So Demi obviously brings the birthday cake to Kenny, and Mari takes the cake, and, you know, let's look at this clip and we'll see what happens.
Aside and let her continue to do this. She's got another thing coming.
Yikes. I wanted a piece of that damn cake.
Riley is literally me right now. I mean, there's so many thoughts about this cake. I mean, Fiona, what are you thinking about how she handled the cake situation?
You know, I loved it. I thought it was amazing TV. I'm really glad she did it. But I also thought that the whole thing was a bit, I don't want to say
immature,
petty.
She ruined his birthday.
Immature. I think that's the adjective. It was immature, right? Because at the end of the day, you knew the conversation you had with this guy did not go the way you wanted it to, and you didn't follow up. Obviously, you're pissed off at Demi, but at the end of the day, this is not your childhood, lifelong best friend.
And it's not your cake.
Right, and I think she made it pretty clear when she came on the beach, Demi did, what she was here for, right? So, like, just seemed a little immature of Mari.
And she ruined his birthday. Like, that was literally his birthday cake. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not fair to Kenny. Like, if you really want to pursue him, then maybe throw, like, Demi's, like, shoes in the fire or something. You know what I'm saying? Or, like, throw a piece of cake at Demi. And then poor Riley, who just wanted a piece of the chocolate cake. Like, I know I was watching that being like, I would love a chocolate cake right now. Like, you can't just waste someone's cake. And this is where we have a little insider information, is because you know how it was, like, kind of awkward with Mari running around the beach? Like, she went to the bar. So Wells actually revealed on his Instagram story last night that Mari brought the cake to the bar and was planning on throwing it in the ocean, but Wells was the one that gave her the idea to just throw it in the fire, which I think did make epic TV, throwing a cake in the fire. I liked the music. I felt like this could have been a little bit more played up and, like, iconic, the way she threw the cake, because, like, we were expecting it to be a really big moment. I was a little disappointed, but I still think Mari, even though I think she was, like, really immature for it, I still think she gave us an iconic TV moment. And then, you know, what was your reaction to hearing about how Demi responded to this?
Yeah, so I think Mari, you know what, she was pissed. She showed a fiery side of herself. She threw the cake in the fire.
Literally.
Like, I think a lot of people kind of understood. She probably felt a little embarrassed, a little angry, right? Like, we've all had the immature moment. So not going to hold this against her. But what I loved, you asked Demi's reaction. I loved when Demi finds out how she goes, oh my God, hilarious. Or, like, she just started laughing. I don't remember how she did it, but it wasn't like she all... Yeah, it wasn't like she all of a sudden was like, oh, well, I need to go throw something in the fire, or where is she? I'm going to go scream at her. Because I think Demi, you said it, she's a pot stirrer. She was like, all right, game respects game. She threw the cake in the fire. Like, I'm going to go take the guy to the boom boom room. So, like, no skin off my back. Like, there was a confidence there.
There was, and that's why I like Demi, because she doesn't take herself too seriously. And she did start laughing. She was hysterically laughing at the bar. And then this is where Mari like kind of brings Demi to the side and is like, you backstabbed me. Like, how dare you? And like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and Demi's just like, she's handling it like a champ. She's like, Mari, you were the one that said you wanted to keep things open. Like, you should have been more clear about what that meant. So, like, I mean, do you think that Mari and Demi have a chance to become friends again? I mean, and then tell me a little bit about what you thought when Mari talked to Kenny.
So I don't think that we're going to see Mari and Demi be friends. What I don't know is if this is going to like continue and they're going to be at each other's throats for the rest of the season. I kind of feel like I could see it going literally either way. When Mari talked to Kenny, I just felt kind of sad. It felt like a classic case of like, one too many miscommunications and now everything has exploded. Do you know what I mean? Like on a certain level, I feel like all of this could have been avoided if their first conversation went better. If she explained herself better, if she followed up with him after she could tell that he didn't get what she was saying and that he was upset. Like this is a classic case of the miscommunication train just running off the tracks. And I don't know where they go from here. The thing is, you and I have seen those like bigger, season trailers. I feel like we have seen some moments of Kenny and Mari that we haven't seen yet. Yeah. So I guess not all hope is lost maybe for those two, although I don't personally see how they bounce back from this quickly. I don't know.
I'm over them, honestly. I'm so here for Kenny and Demi. Like, they went to the Boom Boom Room. They had a great time. So I'm hoping that Kenny and Demi, like, work on their relationship. I don't think that they'll be together forever, but they're a fun, free couple. And at the rose ceremony towards the end of the episode, we saw Kenny kind of announce to everyone that his relationship is over with Mari. And that was kind of, I was taken aback by that. And so was Mari. Mari was like...
Yeah.
She was kind of surprised that he announced that. So who should Mari give her rose to now? Because it seems like Demi is going to give her rose to Kenny if she gets to present the rose first.
Yeah, so Mari, I hope, is like a real hero. And I don't know, finds Ivan, sees that he's not going to get a rose, tosses it to him. She could save Connor the cat, let him live another day, right? Like there are a lot of guys that we like and that we were hoping Jane, would have better luck. Even Aaron, Carl. Right? Who's giving Aaron a rose? Not Carl. Carl can go home, at least.
Baby
but yeah,
Chasen.
I hope Mari's just a hero. Yeah,
I mean, I think Mari's
really, right?
Mari's gonna have to kind of see what her other options are. Kenny's made it clear publicly, at least for now, in front of the whole beach, that he's over Mari. So, I mean, that was a really fun moment though, like watching this triangle throughout the episode. So I'm glad that we like been able to kind of talk about it. But there was another triangle we have to get into, the Aaron, Tammy, Thomas situation. They got into a pretty hot pickle as well. So Tammy ended up making out with Aaron's mortal enemy, Thomas, right in front of Aaron, and Aaron watched the whole thing go down. And this is what I don't like, is that there's no privacy on this beach. Why can't people make out in peace? Like, what? What was your reaction to seeing Tammy go for Thomas, though, considering she knows, and everyone knows, how much Aaron hates Thomas?
Yeah, it really bummed me out, if I'm being honest. Like, we can get into this, of course, but we've seen Aaron, make out with Serena. Like other things have happened. And so far they've navigated it pretty seamlessly. And I think that is because they're not going after each other's mortal enemies, right? Until now. And it felt kind of just like a little disappointing. Like I'm not saying Tammy shouldn't explore. Tammy shouldn't go make out with whoever she wants to make out with. Like they're not married. This is what you do in paradise. It's not the kissing somebody else that bums me out. It was the choosing to kiss someone who Aaron's almost made it his entire personality to hate, right?
Yeah.
Because that just feels like, I hate to like mimic what Aaron was saying, but it's sort of like, where's the respect for what you guys do have, right? Like if you care about someone, you typically don't go out and befriend someone that they feel wronged by. And that's just where the line got a little too fuzzy for me. It feels like there's a lot of hot guys here. There's a lot of guys who need connections. It didn't have to be Thomas. And that's what bummed me out.
I completely understand why Aaron would be upset with Tammy, because they did have a connection, like you said. So I would be pissed off at Tammy if I was Aaron. However, Aaron has no right to be pissed off at Thomas, considering Thomas has done nothing but try and make amends with Aaron and be nice to the guys from Katie's season. And Aaron also has done nothing but talk trash about Thomas since the second he got on the beach. Since the second before he even showed up on the beach, Aaron was talking trash about Thomas. Thomas owes Aaron nothing. He doesn't even owe him respect because Aaron doesn't respect Thomas. So that was really frustrating for me watching Aaron get so heated at Thomas towards the end of the episode. And it was kind of interesting seeing Thomas be like, well, Tammy kissed me. Like, what did you take away from that fight?
So I have to say, I don't disagree with you, but I do think that this shows a little bit of who Thomas is too, because in the same way that Tammy could have gone and explored with any guy on the beach, I do think Thomas could have continued to try to explore elsewhere, right? Like, you know that this is the girl that's been making out with Aaron, and you just told Aaron you want to be chill, you don't want any drama. So I think unless he really, really, really thought Tammy was the one, make out with someone else. You know it's going to lead to more drama. So, I mean, whatever, what happened, happened. I also thought it was he very intentionally was like, she kissed me. And when you watch back the moment of them before they hook up, he is inviting her to kiss him, right? Like, he may not have made the move, but he made a move in a way, right? Even if it was just verbally. So I don't think he can use the she kissed me, I'm totally innocent in all of this at all. But I also kind of like just coming at it from a TV viewer's perspective, and I don't know, maybe you feel the same. Like, I was ready to watch this like explode and light on fire. Like, get in a fight,
100%.
figure it out. Like, you guys hate each other. It's a love triangle now. Here for it.
100%. But I still am gonna say that Thomas doesn't owe Aaron anything. He doesn't even owe him respect because Aaron doesn't respect Thomas. So I do feel like Thomas was leading Tammy on a little bit. Maybe he was trying to be petty to get under Aaron's skin, but he doesn't have to apologize. If I were Thomas, I would have walked away. I wouldn't even give Aaron the respect because Aaron doesn't respect Thomas. And also, you know, Tammy has kind of made this clear on social media that Aaron made out with Serena. Like, even though Serena wasn't Tammy's mortal enemy, like, Aaron still was exploring other options as well. So it's not like Aaron and Tammy were in a committed relationship. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Where do you think Tammy is going to give her rose to? Because she does have, I guess, these two options.
Yeah, I don't know. That's where it gets messy because I feel like this is going to be an ongoing problem, right? Like, Aaron and Thomas are not going to find kumbaya and become buddies. Tammy feels like, hey, you got to go out and explore. I should get to go out and explore. And you know what? She is right about that. That is true. There are just so many little asterisks to this scenario that I feel like in the end, she could be done with Aaron and done with Thomas and just move on and try to find somebody
give her
else.
Rose to Ivan, Chasen, Carl,
James, right? Like,
James.
somebody.
I mean, she has a rose.
What she might do here, and this I think will show how much she does care about Aaron. If I was somebody who felt like, you know what, I wanted to go out and explore. Maybe he wasn't the best guy to explore with. Clearly, I've really hurt Aaron. I don't like that I've really hurt Aaron. I'm going to try to make a big gesture, apologize, and give him my rose to see if this is worth fighting for. That could be how she tries to play it in tonight's episode. I don't know. But I do think it will be telling how much Tammy cares about Aaron, and that connection will, I think, be revealed in like her next couple of steps.
100%. Whoever she gives the rose to is going to reveal exactly where she stands, because if she does not give Aaron a rose, Aaron could go home. Now, I personally think that Mari should give Aaron a rose, since I feel like they both were the immature ones of tonight's crew, and then maybe they can try and form a relationship. But we do know the girls have the power. There's going to be 4 men going home. However, it looks like Becca Koof, and we have a clip in just a minute, it looks like Becca Koof is going to be showing up with a rose. So maybe let's take a look at this Becca Koof clip, and then let's decide who we think is going to go home on tonight's episode.
We have no idea what's coming.
Oh, someone's coming. Oh my God, what now? Surprise!
It's Becca.
Becca is showing up, and you can tell it's going to be tonight's rose ceremony because of all the outfits. So originally 4 guys were going to go home, but now that Becca's here, it looks like only 3 guys are going to go home. I mean, do you have a prediction? Or, I mean, where is Becca even going to give her rose to? I mean, we know Becca might have a thing with Thomas, but would she even give Thomas the rose that quickly? I don't know how that's going to go. Who do you think is on the chopping block?
So I'm with you. There's like a lot of question marks because of her arrival. On the chopping block, unrelated to Becca, I feel like would be James, Carl, Aaron, Connor, right? Like these are guys that are totally sort of in jeopardy right now. So if she decided she wanted to give her rose to any of them, great. But like you said, we've seen from teaser clips that she is going to hit it off with Thomas. So I don't think it's completely outside the realm of possibility that Tammy comes back down to earth, realizes she took it too far, you know, with her choice of exploration partner, tries to salvage what she has with Aaron, apologizes and gives him a rose, leaving Thomas in the dust to go turn on the charm and corner Becca upon her arrival and give her the, you know, Thomas polished player guy edit, and maybe she'll give him a rose. I don't know. Maybe that's how he stays, and maybe that's how Aaron stays.
Yeah. That is definitely a good theory. I think my theory is that I think Tammy's going to give Thomas the rose, which is insane.
Ooh.
And I think that Mari might give Ivan a rose or Aaron. And then I think Becca might give Ivan a rose. No, I think Mari's going to give Connor the cat a rose. And I think Becca is going to give Ivan a rose. And I think Aaron's actually going to go home. I don't know. Because I feel like we also saw in a preview that Tammy and Aaron were fighting, and like Aaron was pissed off at Tammy, and I just feel like she is not going to tolerate that. And I also feel like Tammy needs a guy that isn't Aaron. Like she needs someone else. I just don't see them together. It just feels too toxic.
It does. It does feel like it got really toxic really quick. So I definitely could agree with you there. And I don't know if I'm like making this up, but I feel like I remember in some sort of teaser clip, we saw a moment between Mari and Connor, like he's giving her a hug or something. So maybe they kind of just like console each other and she gives him a rose to keep him around. That could be interesting. I don't know. I don't feel like Connor... Like a friendship rose. Yeah. I do feel like there's maybe like a couple too many friendship roses that would need to be given out. Like, I don't know that we're going to get to keep Connor and Ivan and like everyone. So it'll be interesting. But I definitely agree with you. If Aaron comes in hot at Tammy, she's not going to stand for that. And he will not be getting her rose.
Ooh, I cannot wait. Tonight's episode is going to be so good. And we have a couple more clips because there's going to be some new arrivals. Tia Booth is showing up. She's coming back to Paradise. So let's take a look on how that is going to go for her.
Yeah. Is that Tia? Wow. Looking good.
She's a good time. She's wild. He is the full package and has the full package.
Oh my God. Just to refresh everyone's memory, Tia was originally on Ari's season. She made it to the top 4. She was, you know, did the hometown. She was introduced as Raven's friend from Arkansas. And then she went to Bachelor in Paradise, where she was obsessed with Colton. Like, literally she just wanted all of Colton all the time. And this was 2 years ago. Obviously, Colton ended up coming out of the closet, so that relationship did not work out. And he also was the Bachelor, so that also didn't work out for many reasons. So I kind of feel like Tia might be back to prove herself a little bit. I mean, the last time she was on the show, she fell in love with a gay man. Like, I think she's coming back here to fall in love with someone that is going to reciprocate those feelings for her. And it's interesting to see her on the date with Kenny, because Kenny is already booked and busy. I mean, he has his hands full. I mean, what is the strategy here with Tia asking out Kenny?
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely interesting just based on literally everything we just unpacked with Kenny. But I have to say, maybe it's literally just visually, but they look good together, those two. So I don't know. Maybe Demi moves on to somebody else. Her and Kenny had a lot of heat, but maybe they don't have as strong as a connection, right? And at the end of the day, Mari set him free. Demi found him, but she didn't establish any sort of relationship. So maybe Kenny moves on again.
She just established, you know, the boom boom room. I mean, Mari is really kicking herself in the foot right now. She was like, I want to go on dates with other people. And then literally Kenny like sets free, and then all these girls are interested in him, and no one is pursuing Mari. And now we have the girls coming in next week. So Mari needs to make a really good decision giving out her rose this week, because Kenny is busy being a player. I don't know how I feel about Tia and Kenny. I don't know. I would have to see the date, but I don't really see them together whatsoever. But I mean, based on this, you know, clip, they're making out in the ocean. So clearly they have more of a connection than I could see. Let's kind of take a look at the next clip, because this is the long awaited arrival. Kendall is actually showing up to the beach right after Joe and Serena had their one-on-one date. So let's take a look on how that's going to go. It's going to be really, really intense.
Oh, this is Kendall, Joe's ex-girlfriend.
Uh-oh. Oh, God.
Bye.
You want to go talk?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh my God. Fiona, what? I mean, it looks like she goes right up to Joe. Like, directly up to Joe. Like, is she only here for
It
Joe?
does. I don't know. It does. At least the way they just edited it there, it looks like she beelines for him. Here's the thing. It has been a year. It's whatever it is. I don't care if it's 5 years. I think in this environment where there's no privacy, no whatever, to forge a new relationship right in front of your ex, or to even both be exploring new relationships at the same time, it sucks and it's messy and it's awkward and it's going to put a lot of pressure on everybody. So obviously we understand why they did it. Brilliant move, great TV, but I do feel really sad for Joe and Serena.
Yeah, but at least they did establish their relationship, like we mentioned earlier. Like, they did have that one-on-one date. But I'm just kind of curious because it looks like Kendall's coming for Joe. They broke up a year ago. I mean, is there anyone on the beach that Kendall maybe should pursue? Or do you think she's going to try and win Joe back?
I just don't know, because I'm looking at the guys on the beach right now, and I
Minus
guess
a few of them.
Personality wise, I think Joe is kind of his own character, right? So it's hard to picture, if that's who she was with very seriously for a long time, who is she hitting it off with on the beach, you know?
Maybe she'll go after Ivan if he is able to kind of stick around. We do know that 3 guys are going to go home, so the options are going to be less. The girls are going to have to be like sucking up to the guys because the guys have the power. But I'm hoping that maybe Joe and Kendall just have that conversation and then like let it be, because Joe is really feeling Serena right now, and hopefully Kendall doesn't get in the way of that. I'm also really looking forward to seeing if Serena and Kendall have like a one-on-one conversation, because like that would be so much fun. I love when that like the girls kind of get together. Maybe they'll compare notes, because Joe has compared his relationship to Kendall multiple times with Serena. And like, is this gonna put Joe back in that dark place? Remember the first episode, he was like being a pity party, crying a lot. I mean, it's all gonna go down, and I'm really excited about it. I mean, who are you most excited to see out of Kendall, Tia, and Becca? Because they're all from Ari's season.
That is interesting. Yeah, they are. I think I'm definitely most excited to see Kendall, just because I think that Joe and Serena, right, so far are our most legit, happy, serious couple. So Serena being who she is, right? Someone who's not really interested in the drama. And Joe having made it pretty clear from moment one that if she didn't commit to him, he was probably going home. Like, these two needed something to ruffle feathers, and this was kind of the only solution. So we'll see if they can withstand it. We'll see if it works out. And if not, we'll see what happens next. I mean, I can't imagine that these two get back together, that Kendall's there for Joe, and somehow they walk away from this engaged with all of the history. But maybe, who knows?
It also feels like Kendall might have some baggage for the other guys that might want to pursue her, because nobody's going to want to step on Joe's toes, because they've all been in Mexico with hanging out with Joe for the past couple of weeks. So it's going to be hard, I think, for Kendall to fit in. But I do want to open it up to our audience. Let's open it up to this Q&A. Bring in your questions, bring in your concerns, your opinions, your tweets. We want to hear it all, hear what you guys are thinking, hear what your pulses are. I mean, it's going to be such a juicy episode tonight. It's been a really good season overall. I feel like it's really jam-packed with the Monday and Tuesday night episodes, but I think we're getting everything so fast. And I almost feel like Bachelor in Paradise is going to end like sooner than we think. I mean, it's just going to be a really good season. I can't wait for the tell-all. I can't wait to see what happens when Little John shows up. What else are you really looking forward to seeing?
Oh my gosh, there is so much that we still like have down the line. Little John, you're right. Titus Burgess, like we're gonna have even the Piper arrival. We know Piper, McKenna. There are a couple more girls that they've teased to us already. Like, it's a lot in store.
Yeah. Well, Allison says, you two are really making the best of last night's disjointed parade of fights. Felt like so much producer manipulation. It all made me tired of certain people. There was a lot of producer manipulation, I think, with Chasen interrupting, but I feel, and maybe even the cake could have been a little bit produced, but I don't think you can produce, the drama between Aaron and Thomas. I mean, that was real. Like, they were really upset. Even the drama between Mari and Kenny, like maybe the cake situation was produced, but I felt like Mari was genuinely really pissed off. I mean, all the love triangles just exploded. So I think there was a couple produced situations, but it was a lot of real stuff going on. I mean, what did you find to be the most inauthentic and authentic moments of the episode?
I think that the cake thing was definitely produced. I also think that certain moments, like, right, producers just know what button to push. It's almost like, what is it? Hand the match, like the fire, whatever that phrase is. Like, they like kind of just like know run to be like, oh, and try that. And they create the biggest explosion. And I feel like when there's so much drama, happening at once, that producers definitely know which moments to go for. So yeah, I think the cake is probably the most produced thing, but I'm not mad about it, I guess. Is
Me
how
neither.
Sometimes I like a good producer moment because the cake ended up in the fire, and that's pretty great. All right, Emily said, Natasha awkwardly saying, "You're not in America," to a hot guy as he's leaning in to kiss her is the most I've ever related to this franchise. Oh my God, that kiss was so cringe. That whole setup was cringe. The way he went for it was cringe. It felt really forced. It made me upset. I did not want her to have to work for it that much. I really hope Natasha takes a different path from here out.
It was a very cringe kiss because the way he was leaning over, it just didn't seem like he was into her. And it's just like, Natasha, wake up. Like, me and you are both on the same page here. Like, Natasha is so beautiful. She has a great, rapport about her, a great personality. And I feel like there's so many other options on the beach for her right now besides Brendan. And I mean, maybe we're just like really thinking about Piper, who I want to just show up already. I almost wish that she came sooner than Kendall came. Because like we know that there needs to be a few new girls, and maybe Piper will still show up like next week, because there has been like 4 people coming in each week. We had 4 guys come in, 4 girls come in, so maybe Piper will show up next week, possibly. Caitlin says, poor Connor, Marisa just pissed me off, Bachelor in Paradise. I mean, that is another good question, and why Connor the cat is in the hot seat right now is because Marisa really kind of moved on with Riley, and we didn't see the Marisa Connor breakup. I mean, how do you think Marisa handled that? It seems like she is really in on Riley right now.
Yeah, so I felt like nothing wrong with her going on the date with Riley to explore. Nothing wrong with what happened between them on the date, right? They're 2 people. They're happy. They gave it a shot. Awesome.
Boom, boom,
all
room.
good things. Right. The first, like, all here for it. You make your own decisions. You guys are adults. Great. The only moment that she and Riley have lost me so far is when she sat down with Connor and kind of left the door open, because I just felt like it was someone who didn't prepare something that they needed to say, wasn't totally honest. I just don't think in my heart of hearts, and we didn't hear from her much this episode except for that first little moment between the 2 of them. I don't think in my heart of hearts she still wants Connor. So to me, it's like when he's talking about setting up a date for you and you just keep saying maybe, it's okay. Just say no. Just tell him in that moment that you know that Riley is a better fit. By the end of the night, we saw a quick flash of the 2 of them talking about the cake. They're happy. Here for it. Go be happy. Let Connor off the hook.
She didn't, that's the thing. And I do want to commend like Jessenia for being so honest with Ivan. Marisa wasn't super honest with Connor. She was just like, oh, maybe. It's like, just either say no, say yes, or say, I need a few minutes to think about this. Because clearly she didn't know how to let him down easy. And it's like, you don't want to give Connor false hope. But I also feel like Connor needs to just like have the self-awareness maybe to just realize that she's moved on and it's just not going to be you. Allison says, you 2 are making the best out of last night's disjointed parade of fights. Felt like so much producer manipulation. It all made me tired of certain peeps. I mean, who do you think you were most tired of, Fiona, after watching last night's episode? For me, I am most tired of Aaron and I am most tired of Mari. I just felt like the 2 of them kept on making themselves look like hypocrites.
I was pretty tired of both of them. I would say I definitely agree there. I feel like there was someone else that was bugging me a little bit, and I can't remember who it was now. You know what? I think I was tired with Chasen too. That whole thing that played out with Chasen and Carl, I was already over it, and I just kind of was like, oh, here we go again. He's just kind of subtly annoying.
Yes, and this is literally exactly what I mean, Marcy. Aaron should have been mad at Tammy, not Thomas, 100%. And we'll see what happens tonight when they talk. Another like hidden secret tip of Bachelor in Paradise is that they actually are not allowed to see each other on rose ceremony days. So the guys and the girls are separated all day, and then they're not allowed to talk until nighttime. So maybe Aaron didn't get an opportunity to talk to Tammy yet because they were separated, and whatever happened the night before. There are like some rules behind the scenes where they can't see each other. So I think that when they talk for the first time, it's going to be really interesting.
I could not agree more. Sam here says, Riley made me laugh when he said he wanted a piece. Yeah, that was a really cute moment. I thought Riley like definitely really shined through, like the amount of memes and like tweets about Riley wanting the cake. Like definitely had a little moment that episode. And I also loved to see him and Marisa hanging by the fire wanting the cake together. They were super, super cute. So I hope to see them continue to be happy, and I hope he gets a piece of cake soon.
I think they also mentioned that they were going to possibly do s'mores, but I think the cake melted pretty quickly. It sucks that no one got a piece of that cake. It's really unfortunate. Carrie says, is Kit coming? So Kit is not going to be coming to Bachelor in Paradise. She skipped out on it. I think that the reason Kit left Matt James's season to begin with was because she was not ready for marriage. I think she honestly just probably wanted, the exposure. Her mom works in fashion, she works in fashion, and that's okay. Obviously, people come on for the difference of reasons, but Kit, she did not make it to Paradise. But a couple other girls that are showing up, the rumor mill is that Chelsea is going to be showing up from Matt's season, as well as Piper. Fiona, you mentioned McKenna is going to show up. There are rumors that Alea is showing up from Peter's season, even though I haven't seen any pictures to like secure that she's going to be there, but that's just what I've heard. So is there anyone else who you know that might be showing up, guy or girl, for the rest of the season?
That was my list minus Alea or Aleo. I don't remember how to say her name. Alea. I haven't heard of her yet. I feel like there's probably going to be more than just those few names that we already kind of have. Yeah. So I just can't wait to see where it all goes.
I'm excited to see who shows up because they're bringing in 4 people an episode, which is so many people. And that's why I feel like Paradise is going so quickly, because of all the people they're bringing in and out. So it's going to be interesting. Tyler says, if Mike Johnson came to the beach, it would explode. I mean, Mike Johnson for Bachelor. I mean, we have been waiting for Mike to be the Bachelor for years, and it's just not happening. Is there anyone who you think could be the Bachelor? We might not get an announcement for a couple more weeks.
You mean from the group of Paradise guys?
Or from Paradise, or even Katie's season or Tayshia's season. It could be anyone in the past year.
So I feel like Tayshia's guys landed on the beach, right? Like people really liked Brendan. They really liked Ivan. Now they're here in Paradise. So I feel like I would love to see Ivan be the Bachelor, honestly. I've said that many times, but I feel like his love story is kind of playing out in Paradise. As for Katie's guys that didn't end up in Paradise, we don't have Andrew S there. There was a lot of buzz about him. We obviously don't have Michael A there. There's a lot of like diehard Michael A fans. And then of course there's all this Greg craziness. I don't even know if this is a logical answer to give, but I just still in my heart would like it to be Michael A. So I'm just going to keep saying that until somebody tells me otherwise, because I don't really want it to be Greg. I just don't.
Yeah, that's fair. What is Kim saying, Fiona?
Kim says, Aaron should have been talking to Tammy, not Thomas. Plus, he swapped spit with Serena C. He did. And Tammy is so 100% right that if he gets to explore, she gets to explore too. They should have a conversation 100% about what it means to Aaron that the person Tammy chose to explore with is somebody he considers to be an enemy. And he has a careful dance that I'm not sure he's mature enough to do there, which is not being angry at the fact that she hooked up with somebody else, explaining how it made him feel that she chose to hook up with somebody who he feels disrespected by. Because he has a shred of a side here, but if he doesn't communicate it right, he's going to come off, I think, pretty poorly.
Yeah, and Trey is also getting a lot of heat online right now because he called Tammy, I believe, a trash human being or something similar to the fact that, when Tammy made out with Thomas. So, I mean, Thomas's boys have him back. I have his back. I think that's like the trio. James, Aaron, and Trey are like the trio. But I don't think that it was like appropriate for Trey to say that, considering everything's fair game. Like, Thomas is just like no one is allowed to give him a fair chance because of the guys from Katie's season, and it's not fair. Oh my God, we have a tweet from Demi here. Not Chasen creeping in on the conversation for the third time. This is how I know this was producer planted. I just feel like they're like, keep going back. Like they won't let Chasen go back to the bar, but Chasen needs to like have the backbone enough to be like, no, like, because we know that the producers can't force you to do anything. They encourage you, they tell you, they manipulate you, but Chasen it's just too much.
I agree. I totally agree with all of that. It was too much. Riley, we also have a tweet from Riley. He tweeted saying, I really wanted a piece of that cake. I kind of already said this, but I think that was an unexpected, like really charming moment for Riley. I think a lot of people really resonated with it. And it played out really cute. It definitely was. It was a nice breath of humor in all of that drama and chaos.
Yeah. I also love how the contestants are so much more active on social media during Paradise. I think there's so many more like strict rules with The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, but like on Paradise, these contestants are doing such a good job of engaging with us on Twitter, Instagram, on TikTok. So I'm loving hearing everyone's perspectives. Todd Cranes says, literally no one can dress as fire as Connor B, hashtag Bachelor in Paradise. What did you think of Connor B's outfit that he got? I feel like they just bought it for him in Mexico, like that orange situation.
I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was fun. You know what I actually thought? I could see someone like Brendan wearing that outfit, right? And it just like not really being a big deal, but Connor like put it on. He was feeling trendy. He was feeling hip. He really like, he seemed excited about it so much so that like, that's why I fell in love with it, right? Like, I just thought it's always great when you see someone like get a little extra boost of confidence, literally from what they're wearing, how they're looking in a setting like Paradise. When I think self-esteem can definitely go like this a lot. So was here for this moment from him.
Absolutely. John tweets, kiss my mortal enemy, ha ha ha, Bachelor in Paradise. This whole mortal enemy thing is going to have to be explained at the tell-all because, I mean, it's just not that serious, Aaron. It doesn't have to be that serious. But I do like Connor's outfit, and he did put on Instagram that he was like, here to be a runway model instead of a country singer or whatever, because everyone was accusing him of being here for his music career, if you guys were following that Lance Bass situation. But Connor the Cat is having a really good sense of humor about Lance calling him out. And Lance even put on his Instagram story, like, good job, Connor, like, love your outfit. So I think Lance maybe felt bad about that situation. But tonight is a new night of Bachelor in Paradise. I mean, we really talked about pretty much everything. Is there anything else that you're like, looking forward to tonight? I mean, what are you really going to predict is going to go down?
Okay, looking forward tonight to seeing who Tammy and Mari ends up giving their roses to. And I will predict that Ivan will manage to be saved. And I don't think I'm going to weigh in on any of our others. I don't know. I don't know that Connor's going to be saved. I don't want to say it, but I think Ivan has a better bet than Connor right now.
We need to keep Ivan, but I do think Connor, it might be the end of the road for him, and I also think it might be the end of the road for Aaron as well. But you guys are going to have to, let us know what you think. We're going to have to see what happens tonight. So definitely comment down below what you guys thought of tonight's episode. What did you think of Aaron versus Thomas, Mari versus Demi, the whole cake situation, Jessenia leaving Ivan? Even if you guys missed today's live, you can still comment down below. We will read your comments. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell as well. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined today by my lovely co-host, Fiona Zaring. Our social media handles are on the screen right now, so be sure to give us a follow. Come talk all things Bachelor with us. That is all we have to share with you guys today, so we will catch you guys tomorrow to talk more about Bachelor in Paradise. See you later.